I mean, the hardest would be footlock position here. But when they sit up to hand fight, I've actually caught it from that position, but only once in 15 years of jiu-jitsu. But Ezekiel's are super versatile. I would be happy to come do a seminar on the technique and show about 20 different ways to do it, but we're just gonna do one right now from this position. And this is the highest percentage of all of my Ezekiels. This usually, now, the higher the belt level of my opponent, it goes down. But especially early on in your jiu-jitsu game, you will hit this a lot if you know to look for it. So from here, let's say for whatever reason, I don't feel good about taking this on. Maybe he's sitting there going limp, playing possum. I know that, okay, he probably knows jiu-jitsu, he's waiting, because as soon as I let this up, that's when he's gonna step up towards me and I might lose it. So for whatever reason, I just decide I don't wanna go for the arm. That's why this hand is posted here. This technique we just did, most people teach it from here. And this is correct. I teach it from here because I want a plan B if plan A doesn't work. So what I'm gonna do, I'm keeping his arm. I still make him think he wants his arm. I want his arm. When I decide I'm ready, I'm gonna move my hips north a little bit. I'm gonna let him take his arm back, and then I'm gonna pin it right there. Just gonna hold it. I don't want him to reach back up. Now from here, watch what I'm gonna do. This foot that was on the bottom, the knee that was in, I'm just gonna go belly down. I'm gonna do a hip switch. So I'm just gonna slide it under me just like this, all the way until it's out the back. From here, this hand on this side, it's hard to see. I'm gonna do this quick. My hand, I've gotta come down and grab my own sleeve. 4 fingers in, just like this. All right? So, here, I can't dawdle. I can't, just play around and get late. I gotta move quick when I do this, because if I let go of his hand, I don't have control of his hand anymore. So, my hand here, it is all the way out. It is able to grab, right? I need to give it something to grab. So here, boom. I'm gonna grab the inside of my sleeve, 4 fingers in, no thumb. Now from here, all I'm gonna do is make a fist, draw a line across his pectoral muscle, right down his sternum, right onto his neck. Now this is where he's gonna pick his poison. If he keeps his head looking up at the ceiling, he's gonna get a trachea crush. If he turns his head away from me to alleviate pressure, he gets a carotid. Either works. The first one's a lot meaner, but they're the ones that are telling you how they want you to choke. So, you hit the carotids, that turns the lights off. Hit the voice box, they cough for a week and it hurts when they swallow. So just be aware of that when you're deciding when and when you don't want to tap. So we're here, all right, I'm gonna let him get that arm back, I'm gonna scoot away. This made the opening so I can grab my own sleeve. Now this hand comes over, it's a hammer fist, right down on the neck. So, get out. Go for me. Here, grab my sleeve, over, that's the finish. All right?
Is there any value in having the sleeve further up and the hand arm freer?
So this hand, bottom one, your sleeve's gonna be what it is, because it's on their neck. This hand, this is where gi length comes into play. If you got a really short gi, it's a little harder to grab. But if you have a really long gi, it's got more slack and it's not as tight a choke. So Goldilocks, you want it just right. You want the gi roughly there. If your sleeve is bunched up, before I go for this choke, I may bunch it back down. I need to be able to make this transition as fast, actually I'll be coming from here, this transition as fast as I can. All right, once I can get those 4 fingers in, if you can only get 3, that's fine, 4 is better. Here, fist, right down. And it is the fist of doom, boom, right on their neck. You want the hardest part of your fist smashing and pushing and not letting up on the softest part of their neck. All right.
So I think they need to see it one more time.
Yep.
And then the only other thing that I would add is this is a tin can, these are balloons.
Yes. Even more so, those are water balloons. The way, when I teach Ezekiel, and let me talk about this, because chokes can be super dangerous if they're done wrong. And what he means by tin can, your trachea, your windpipe, is not filled at any time. It is always hollow. So it has to be rigid. So if you crush it, it doesn't bounce back sometimes, okay? Your arteries are always pressurized. They're always full of fluid. If you pinch them, it's just like a hose. You pinch a hose, you let it go, the water keeps flowing again. So when you're attacking voice box, this is dangerous. So be nice. When you're attacking these, they're still dangerous, but not as dangerous. Does that make sense? That's a good point of what he was saying. I teach this when I teach the kids because you are learning lethal techniques. And if you did have to use the choke on the street and then you were taken before the law, which could easily happen, even if you were completely in the right and starting the fight, the fact that you've had one jiu-jitsu class could up your penalty if you ever did have to use martial arts in terms of the law. So just be aware of that. Jiu-jitsu is called the gentle art because we decide how much pressure and force to apply. And you always want to apply as little as possible, unless your life is good. Make sense? One more time? Let's see one more time? Yes. So here, got this. I don't want to go for the arm for whatever reason. I'm like, I don't like it. I'm going to scoot back. I'm going to let him get his arm back. And I'm going to push it down. The reason I'm pushing it down, I just don't want him gumming up his neck with his hands. So I want to, my chest is on one side, keeping the other hand away. Push this here. Come around here. Switch to my sleeve grip here, and then come over his shoulder, down into the soft part of the neck. All right? All right, we'll get good. Yeah, person on the bottom, if you don't want to cough, turn your neck to the side and let him hit you on the karate. Or play around. Some people learn by doing, so. Okay, everybody, let's give this a try for about 5 minutes.